I live to train, but it can't identify as that. Because I got to have more than that. Otherwise, that's just the output, right? That's just training. So where's the input come in? And what's cool, especially with me, is my input is watching people succeed, watching people we had a level up games this weekend, which is like the fitness competition version, not the everyday training, to watch people do things they've never been able to do before. I'm so fired up to get back in there Monday, watching someone who's sure overweight, sure has a bad knee, sure has 4 kids, but then watching them show up and push and watching the community and watching them cheer for each other, I couldn't even hear. And they're screaming at the last place person to finish and how exciting that was. For me, that's all I need to get back in there the next day,
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Perks and Paving. We just want to take a minute to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone who has followed us from our journey here at the Paving Group, including our podcast. Today we have a really special guest that Paige is going to introduce.
So our guest today is a very special guest. He's actually the trainer at my gym here in Wexford. So he has over 10 years of experience in burn boot camp, 7 of which have been at the gym here locally. And he has won multiple awards. The most impressive to me is the 2020 National Trainer of the Year. We're super excited to have him on the show, and welcome to the episode.
Hey guys,
Welcome
nice
to
to
the
see
show,
you
man.
guys. Thank you for having me on. This is a beautiful place. Appreciate it.
Thanks. It was kind of a joke a couple weeks back when you were asking what my podcast was about, and we quickly realized you would be a good guest for
Paige
us.
says, come on. I'm like, okay. And then yesterday, she's like, so do you really want to come on? I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah.
So, Matt, one of the central themes, if not the main theme of our show, is talking about career changes and just transitioning from things that are unfulfilling to another life or a life choice that provides happiness and fulfillment. So obviously you didn't start at burn boot camp, but tell us about what led you there. What was the opportunity or the door that opened for you to get there?
So for almost 13, 14 years, I worked at Costco wholesale.
Nice.
That was a job I got right out of high school. And for me, it was like good pay, 401k, retirement plan. They had insurance. And all. So for me, it was like, that's the job, right? It's there. And I realized when I got there, okay, I can do this. Growing up, you always think like all the adults, all your friends' parents, they know everything, right? And they got it all figured out. So as a kid, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then you get thrown into a career like Costco where you're working with all the adults and you're like, all right, I'm going to be okay. I got this. I can do this, right? So it was a job I did well. I was very good at the problem solving. So I moved up relatively quickly through the company. And in my head at that point, it's like, look, you're good at this. Just do it, And then, I don't know, 10 or so years in, I started to develop some chronic back pain and type stuff. And I just fell into this spot to where I found a movement coach who taught me how to move, and I was able to cure some of my pain. And like a light bulb went off. Like, if I can fix my back with using fitness and movement patterns, what else could I fix? And I kind of just went down this tunnel vision rabbit hole of just, what else can I learn fitness? And I just became obsessed with it. So then I realized I was at my job all day at Costco thinking about my workouts or who am I going to train today? And it was like, at some point, like, what are you doing? Like, how do you make that leap or whatever? So I was working at Costco like 3 a.m. until 1 p.m. That was my shift. So like I would get home, eat lunch.
Schedule.
Yeah. And then I just went straight to the gym. And I just and at the time I had never worked out. I hated working out my whole life. I was always tall. I was always super skinny. So like working out didn't go so great for me, right? Lifting weights was hard. I was like a baby deer coordination wise.
Levers are too long, man.
Yeah, no, legit. I remember the first day of high school football, everybody lines up and you see how many times you can bench 135 pounds. I was the only person on the team that could not do it with 1 rep. And it was like, go stand in the corner. When everybody's done, we'll bring you. I left. I literally left. I called my mom from the payphone and I was like, Mom, I can't play. About a week later, the coach called me and he's like, these are the same kids you've been playing with since you were 10 years old. Yeah. So I came back and went right back into the role of playing. So that kind of hit me like, it doesn't matter how much you can lift. So then unfortunately, I just never lifted. I just never worked out because I can still play football and whatnot. And I was raised out in the country a little bit. So we were cutting firewood, digging holes, baling hay, that kind of stuff. So I was always strong in that aspect. But when it came to the long lever lifting, I was just not good at it, So I kind of wrote off fitness. And then when I started having that pain, I found a doctor, a chiropractor, Dr. Edwin at Evolve Wellness in Zillionople taught me how to move the right way. And then all of a sudden your pain goes away. And then I had a friend at Costco who was like, man, my back's hurting. I was like, come here. Like, I got you. Like, let me show. I promise I can help you. And then that it turned into that. Like, I just wanted to help people. So then all of a sudden people started meeting me at the gym I was going to, and I was running them through workouts and And it was just like, you just learn through that process. So like the first probably 4 years, I was actually like helping kind of train people. I wasn't a certified trainer. The only reason I became a trainer is when you want to turn that into your career, you need the insurance and that kind of coverage. So that's why I became a certified personal trainer. But the transition was tough. You know, if I was in that situation, married with kids and all that, I probably wouldn't have made the move, because it was going from this steady job, you know, where you have this job security, the stability, you have insurance, they match your 401k, you know, like you have, I mean, I was there for over 10 years, so I had like 5 weeks of sick pay and 5 weeks of vacation and like, but I hated it. Like, and I remember at one of my last reviews I had, my upper manager said, "You're not ready to move to the next level because you're not dedicated about this." And it's like, I wake up at 4 a.m. to get people to stock pickles.
Yeah,
like,
you're like, that's pretty
you
dedicated.
want me to be
if you ask me.
passionate, and I can't do it. Meanwhile, in my head, I know I'm leaving here and I'm going and training people, and that's when it kind of clicked. Like, that's my passion. So I started doing it on the side. Dr. Edwin at Evolve Wellness, he had a yoga studio attached, and after he kind of taught me everything, how to fix myself a little bit, I started seeing people in the yoga studio as a personal trainer. And generally, everybody has the same issues. We all have terrible posture. We all arch through the back. We have a weak core. So I noticed I was training the same people on the same thing. So I started doing little boot camps. So then 2 or 3 times a week, I'd have a bunch of people meet me there, and we'd all work on the general issues that most people have. And it just slowly built over time. I mean, there was a time where it was just me and one other person. And then there was 2 of us. And over time, it slowly built that up.
So how many clients would you say that you had before you made the jump to burn?
I mean, I probably had 10 consistent each week, not very many. I mean, if I got 15 to 20 in a class, I would be like, I made it, you know? Like, now I had to pay to be in that studio. So, I mean, there was times, and I only charged $5 a person. So there was times I was paying $25, $30 to be in the studio, and 2 people would show up. So I paid $20 to train those 2 people.
So you were doing it truly because you loved it.
I did. I loved it. And it was like, it became my community, my tribe. You know, the people I trained then wanted to come back, and we started hosting fitness events, and we started going to different gyms and kind of traveling a little bit.
I had the opportunity to do a free week at the Wexford Burn, and that one of the biggest takeaways for me, who I'm a strength guy, lifting, a little bit of cardio here and there, but the community aspect of it all, like, these people are truly like one team, encouraging one another. Like, you are dying, gasping for air, and there is some sweet middle-aged lady clapping and giving you the juice to get to that next station because she's in there with it. And I love that part of it too. I thought that was one of the best things about it too, because again, it's not those movement patterns, stuff like that. It's not traditionally what I do for a workout, but like going into it and just being gassed so early on, but having that support from a total stranger too, I thought was awesome. So.
And I never expected that, right? When I wanted to be a trainer, I want to train the Steelers. I'm going to train the biggest athletes. We're going to bench ton of weight. And then it's like, you finally get to the point, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to open a gym. And the first 50 clients are all middle-aged women with hip problems, and my shoulder's bad. And I'm like, all right, I guess we're going to take this. And it's just like a whole different thing. But then when you see them supporting each other, or even me, going through, I mean, I've been there for 7 years. They've seen my ups, they've seen my downs. Like, I'm there every day with them. And the support that I get. I mean, I remember the first Christmas, how much, like, gifts they gave out. I was like, well, I had to take 2 cars. When I had my son, my first kid, I had to take 2 trips because of the diaper party they sent me. They just stacked it up. I couldn't even fit it on my whole car was packed out.
Nice.
So it is different, like,
it's
I'm going to
truly
show up.
A community. And we were talking a little bit last night, and with me, like, I was a collegiate athlete, multi-sports, and I felt like I was missing something. Like, I wasn't interested in working out anymore once I graduated from college. I mean, through grad school, I'd do stuff occasionally, but there was just no routine that I could get into that I felt fulfilled and it was fun and I was committed to. And then when, I started at Burn, I felt like that void was filled again. And, it's been a blessing for me, and it's been fun again. Who wants to go and work out if it's not fun?
Well, I think that's the team. So when Burn first opened, we were women specific, right? And what they found is that women want family. You guys are biologically, inclined to form community, to form family, and to build that and support. So it's like you said, you're a collegiate athlete, you play that sport, and then you're done, and it's like, bye friends, I'm never talking to you again. Like, where's that team?
You have that group environment that you're used to working out with, and when you don't have it anymore, you're like, okay, well, now I have to go to the gym and think of something to do on my own. And it's not that I couldn't do it. Obviously, as with my background as a physical therapist, like, I have the knowledge to do it. It's just
The motivation.
the motivation
How many
was
times are you
not
gonna go
there.
shoot a basketball by yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before it's like, hey, there's 3 guys. It's like, all right, now
Yeah.
let's play a little bit,
Yep.
you know. And even for men, we get that a lot. You know, we play sports our whole lives, and then we go to the gym as an adult, and it's like my communication to you is like, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, what
Yeah.
are we chest pressing now? So it's
Yeah.
like, even for the men who say I don't need that community, you come in, you don't have a choice, you know. And then all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, I could stop 1 rep short, but my partner's watching me.
Yeah.
And they know, and my partner's a middle-aged woman
Yep.
Yeah.
who's lifting the same amount as I am,
Yeah.
who also has 4 kids, who also has a full-time. It's like, all right,
Yep.
all right, let's go, Tina.
Way
Like,
more
let's-
shredded than me. Like,
Yeah,
put
that's
a
what I
key on
remember
it.
when Mark came with me to class. He's like, "Those women are shredded," and
Yeah.
I was like, "They have some
It's true.
guns."
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it gets rid of a lot of the misconceptions. Like a lot of times we just think fitness is cardio, especially for women, get
Yeah.
the little blue weights, and you know, we have to, I mean, even like Planet Fitness has like the women's area kind of thing, or curves back in the day, and it's like women's muscles are the same as men's muscles, you know.
Right.
If men get success from lifting weights, it's kind of what we should do with the women too.
Right.
And that's one thing that's nice about Burn is it's not just this cardio house that's just come and do 1,000 different kinds of jumping jacks. We split it up and really give you what you need, you know.
Yeah, it's
versus
like very
just,
well rounded.
yeah, exactly. We have 3 or 4 lifting days a week. We have 3 to 4 cardio days a week, and we kind of offset those. And there is strategy behind it. You know, it's not just who can go to the gym and work the hardest, right? We live in that society that's like who can sleep the least, work the hardest, drink the most coffee, and like sometimes it's about dialing back a little bit and finding out what do you specifically need to get you to the result you want versus who can just work the hardest. Like, I'm in the gym. Look at me, I'm doing things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what's the strategy behind it? What's your life look like
Yeah.
outside of this versus just how hard can you work? you know?
Right. Now, you mentioned obviously that it was predominantly women when Burn first started, but
Yeah.
obviously men come to Burn
Yeah.
Boot Camp now. How do you feel like you tailor? Because obviously there's some high level, fitness levels as far as the men go at
Yeah.
our gym. So how do you tailor to them and still challenge them on the daily?
Well, that's what's nice about Burn too is yes, we are in a group, but it's all individualized. So Mark comes in, hey, how are you doing? What do you normally do for a workout? Do you have injuries and what's going on? And then a lot of the guys I talk to, like I have a couple cops right now who are coming, big, strong guys, and all they care about is getting stronger, which is great. So then I ask them, how many times throughout the day, your normal day life, are you not strong enough to do something? That you go to Costco to buy a case of water and you can't pick it up.
Right.
Or that you get a dresser and you can't move it, and they're always ready to be like, oh, never, I'm strong enough. It's like, then why are you worried about that? How many times a day does your back hurt you?
Yeah.
How many times a day can you not tie your shoe because your hips feel? Oh, all the time. Then let's work on that,
Yeah.
you know? So when I find a guy who wants to get stronger, I'm gonna ask him where you're pain at. What's limiting you on the daily? And then let's work towards that. You're 6'4", 230 pounds. Like there's not too many days throughout, or too many times throughout the day that you're not strong enough.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times that you can't sit in the chair at your kid's choir recital because your back's cramping up, or you can't sit in an airplane because your knees hurt, or whatever. So for me, it's like finding that individual person, especially as a man. What do you actually need, and let's work towards that versus let's see who can bench press the most your first day of football.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So, I mean, kind of leading into that, the different types of clientele that you work with, but there's something that's universal with everyone that comes in there, right? So people who come in at 5:30 in the morning for a class, or 6:30, or people who are coming after work, you have to consistently remain positive because these people are coming to you groggy, they're coming after a bad day or whatever. So what are some things that you utilize to maintain that positivity, to exude it for everyone else that's coming who may not be having that good day?
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what, this is my outlet. Like, I need to work. So how
Yeah.
do you personally, because I'm sure it grows on you too when there are people who are just having a rough day and
Yeah.
they're not giving it their all. Like,
'cause-
how do you kind of handle that?
Yeah, and that's what a lot of trainers, it's hard for them to understand. We pour out energy, right? So yeah, at the end of the day, I don't have much left energy wise. So how do you like refill your tank is important, you know, like I live to train, but it can't identify as that, like, because I got to have more than that. Otherwise that's just the output, right? That's just training. So where's the input come in? And what's cool, especially with me, is my input is watching people succeed, watching people we had a level up games this weekend, which is like the fitness competition version, not the everyday training, to watch people do things they've never been able to do before. I'm so fired up to get back in there Monday, watching someone who's sure overweight, sure has a bad knee, sure has 4 kids, like, but then watching them show up and push, and watching the community and watching them cheer for each other, like I couldn't even hear. And they're screaming at the last place person to finish, and how exciting that was. For me, that's all I need to get back in there the next day, you know?
I'll never forget the one day I went, I think it was a cardio day, and we had to, one of the stations was like running sprints. I just did not have anything in there, and I'm turning this corner, and this lady is just sitting there waiting for me at the end. She was already gone, like just waiting until I got there so we could all move as a unit to the next section. I was like, that is so cool.
And that's like, for me as a trainer, there's days and podcasts, all this stuff's the same. There's ones you kill it and you're like, we nailed it. And then there's ones where like, not so much, you know? The days you nail it, I get like goosebumps. I almost feel like a DJ when everybody's hitting the same rhythm. We're moving at the same pace. Nobody forgot what station they're at. And it like went, it's like, I gotta hit that one. That felt good. I want to do that tomorrow. You know,
how do you keep it like fresh? Because I mean, you know, there's, you know, dozens, if not hundreds of exercises about how do you kind of go about recycling them so like it doesn't get too stale. Like she goes, you know, 4 or 5 times a week, multiple like, and she never comes home and says, oh, like we did this today. No, it wasn't that, but like, how do you keep that?
I think it's the education aspect, right? Whenever, like I always tell them, we are always going to do squats on leg day. That's one of the most basic humanistic movements. We are always going to do squats. So when you show up every day and you think like, oh, squats again, then yeah, it's going to get boring. It's repetitive. But when you come in and you're like, man, last week I squatted the 35s. I got them 5 times. I'm so excited to do squats. I think I can get to this next. So that's what kind of keeps it fresh then, is me educating them. Why is it important that we spend a couple weeks focusing on just how heavy? Why is it important that we focus a couple weeks on range of motion and form and technique and practice? And then why is it important we spend a couple weeks, how many reps can you get, you know? So then they kind of look forward. They know when we switch through the cycles that next week is heavy week. And 6 weeks ago, I squatted or bench pressed the 35 or whatever the number is. I'm excited to get back into this. So what's interesting is with a lot of trainers, we're always trying to invent new exercises. And so they never, if you're inventing new exercises, it's probably something stupid, right? Otherwise, it would have been invented the thousands of years that people have been working out. So when you're standing on one foot with an eye closed on a Bosu ball doing something, it's probably stupid, you know? When you're doing the same lifts that they've been doing for thousands of, you're probably on the right track. You know what I mean? Now it's just about the strategy. And I think that's what keeps people incentivized to come back, is we change the strategies, you know, like watching NBA basketball. It's changed over the years, but why do people still watch? The strategies just changed. The way the game's played has just changed a little bit. Whether you want to say it's for the positive or the negative, fine, but it like keeps it fresh because the strategy, the goals are kind of changing. And at Burn, we do what's called focus meetings where we sit down one-on-one. What are your goals? What are your limitations? What do you want to focus on for the next 6 weeks? Like what's something we can push towards? And then while I'm training in a group, I know Paige, we just talked about a goal the other day. So now I can get in with her in the group and keep her focused on that goal. So now she's excited to come back that next day. But I get all the time, what do you just lay up at night and think of these? Yeah, kind of. You know, it's kind of how that goes. But I don't know. I kind of read the room too. You know, like going into the holidays, the biggest thing right now is not letting people fall off the wagon. Right. You know, how do we? So maybe I'm not pushing the crazy intensity right now because that could push some people away who are just trying. They're in survival mode right now.
Or like giving them an excuse to be like, I just worked my butt off.
Yeah.
And
I got to go shopping. Right. And I got holidays and I got Thanksgiving coming up this week. So Matt's going to kill me. It's like, it might be a little different. But what does this chapter of your life, what does this season of your life look like? And I think that's like, if you're an accountant, I'm going to train you differently January through April. Right. You know what I mean? Like I work out, I try to tell people, I work out 2 to 3 days a week. But what do I do for a living? It's different than if you're sitting at a desk all day long. I'm going to train you a little bit differently. So I think a lot of people can stay motivated or stay fresh with it because I do have that one-on-one connection with, I know what you want. You know what I mean? I know why you're here. Some people come, we have free child watch at most of our camps. Nice. Some people literally say, Matt, I have 3 little kids. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't talk to anybody all day but these kids. This is my half an hour, 45 minutes to throw them in child watch and come out here and work out. I'm not going to bust that person's ass every single day. I'm going to make sure that person's having fun. They got at it. Like, why are you here? You know what I mean? It's like the same thing when people go on vacations. Why are you there? Are you there to be in shape? Then go work out and eat chicken and broccoli. But if you're on vacation to relax and have fun, relax and have fun. You know, like I don't push hardly any of my people to work out on vacation. Go enjoy your vacation. Come work when you get back. You know, it's like, if you work out all year long and then you take a week off and you lose all your progress, your foundation was garbage. Same way as if you did not work out all year long and you spent 1 week working, you would not be in shape either. So it's like that 1 week shouldn't knock you off the wagon if we have the right strategy. If we go into it with the right mindset of, I am going to take off a week and then it's back to business. You know, it's not free for all, you know. So I think just meeting people where they're at and having a strategy and goals is what's going to keep them motivated and consistent versus check out this new exercise I invented this weekend that you've never seen before.
I will say, going back to like us being physical therapists, like people, you are correct. It's not always the safest thing and it's probably not the best treatment, but that's what people sometimes want to have. And it's nice that you realize that, like, yes, like the basics are sometimes the most necessary. And what you were saying about, okay, what do you need to lift on a daily basis? Like, okay, if you're not lifting 200 pounds on the daily for your job, or for, like, why do you need to go to the gym and, you know, throw out your back and, you know, have back pain when that's not something that you need to do to live your day to day. So I love that you hit on that.
All the other guys at the gym are lifting heavy weights.
Yeah.
So.
And it's like, watch all those other guys tie their shoes and get in and out of bed at night or whatever their goal is. And that's a big part of it too, like the comparison. And it's not hard. Like, you can do it in a healthy way. I love it when I see it in a healthy way, but there's also an unhealthy way to do it. You know, I try to see, like, who's the best, who's the worst, where do I fall?
Right.
You know, and I don't care. I'm just curious. Am I happy with that? Like, can I look in the mirror at night and be like, yeah, I gave it my all? Or is there other little areas that I can kind of attack a little bit to maybe push me to that upper level? Or again, just looking at your life.
Right.
If you have 4 kids, are you volunteering on the weekends? Do you work full-time job? Like, that's my number one issue I have with people usually is, hey, Matt, today's my first day. I have 4 kids. I work full-time. I volunteer on the weekends. I have autoimmune disease. I'm going to come in 6 days this week, and I'm going to go to Costco and buy 100 pounds of vegetables. I'm ready. It's like, hold on, stop. Like, relax. You know, let's take it a little slow.
Right. Now, let's go back to how you actually made the transition to burn, because I feel like you missed a part of the story that I thought was a good part. So, so how did you actually make that jump, and like what was the process and training that was required of you to become a burn trainer?
So this is 10 years ago, right? I slowly became a trainer, and I built up my clientele. I was doing a lot of the Facebook marketing, like guerrilla marketing on my own. I'd take pictures every camp, every single week. I'd post it up. And Lisa Kostelnik, who's the owner of Burn Boot Camp in Wexford, she had visited her sister in North Carolina who went to a burn. So she had gone with her, and Lisa was like, I've never worked out something like this. I want to bring that to Pittsburgh. So she was online trying to find out if there was anything like this in Pittsburgh, and she found my post.
Yeah.
So she started coming to my yoga studio workout, not telling me that she wanted to open a gym. She was just working out. And then she invited some of her friends, and I'm sitting there like, heck yeah, I just broke into a new
Market.
market. I'm gonna get all these clients now. And they probably came for a month or two. And then one day I was working at Costco, and of course I was creeping on Lisa on Facebook to see like what was her deal, you know. And all of a sudden I noticed her husband in Costco one day, and he was looking at me, and when I like made eye contact, he totally fucked and walked away, and I was like, that's weird. And then I looked up and I saw Lisa do the same exact thing, and I was like, all right. And she literally came to the back of my department. She's like, all right, we are creeping on you. And then that day she called me, and then that was like, hey, you know, I really want to open this gym, but kind of like we've talked before we turned on here, is it's not just opening a gym. You have to have the team, the trainer, the owner and the trainer have to work together. And as a trainer, you can't just be a bro who likes to work out. You have to be okay. And that's like the big misconception, or I think a big issue with trainers is it's like, I like to work out. I'm in shape. This is what I'm going to do. It's not about being in shape. It's about getting other people to be a healthier version of themselves, you know? And most trainers are just in this because they like to work out and be in a gym. That doesn't mean you like to help somebody else through their problems. And again, listen to I have the kids, I have the job, I have that, so fine. Because I, as a 20-some-year-old, would have been like, you got to wake up at 3 a.m., you got to go to the gym, you got to, and because that's what I did to get in shape, you know? That doesn't mean the 40-year-old woman with kids and stuff is going to do that same thing. But as a younger trainer, I'm like, that's how you do it. Right. So as you get into a place like Burn and you find that stuff out, you learn to train people different. But so yeah, over time, Lisa started stalking me at Costco because she wanted to see if I was a good teammate working with my employees and stuff. And then, she called me and said, what do you think? Let's do it. And I was like, I'm all in. Like, let's go.
And you thought it was more like Zumba at first,
I did think
correct?
it was Zumba because it was women. At that time, it was women only. We didn't even allow men in.
Oh,
it was women only. The Burn Boot Camp, a fit community of women. Or fit community of moms.
How long ago did they start allowing men to join?
2020. So during COVID times.
Okay.
So men started being able to come at 5 a.m. and at 5:30 p.m., the first and the last camp. But then it was hard to like rationalize to sell a member that says you can only come to these 2 times.
Right.
Either first thing in the morning or last thing at night.
Yeah.
So over time, it was more or less, we talked with our members and Burn as a community, and it was a lot of the women, the men are your husbands, your boyfriends. So it's like, we probably only have 3 or 4 men that come in that are single men.
Yeah.
You know, most of it's like bring your husband, bring your significant other. So 2020, 2021, we went on full co-ed. So now every camp's co-ed, and we have at least 20 men that are showing up every day. And it's been nice because now you're going to kick his butt, right? That's the that's the thought process.
Yep.
And even if you can't lift as much as he can, he feels that heat a little bit. So he's like, man, I got to push because I know Paige is coming.
Yeah.
how do I keep them motivated? You just kept each other motivated,
Yeah.
you know? And again, if you can do that in a healthy way, man, is that like to have a significant other who wants to be healthy. It's not who can lose the most weight, who can be the most, I want to be here for our future, for our kids,
Yeah.
for our family. Like, I mean, to see 50, 60-year-old people having these major health issues, I mean, my kid's going to be 18 when I turn 50.
Yeah.
So like, as he's becoming an adult, I'm going to become now incapable of climbing a lighthouse or going and playing basketball or whatever, you know?
I feel like that's been our biggest thing. You know, we want to, when we decide to have kids down the road, like we want to be able to go out and, you know, play soccer with them
Yeah.
or coach sports and, you know.
Anything. Hey,
Yeah,
Dad, do
we-
you want to go down to Waterside? Yep.
Yep.
Hey, Dad, do you
Yeah.
want to run a 5K? Yep.
I mean,
like, it doesn't matter.
being in the field that we were in, you know, I mean, we saw it on an everyday basis. Of
Yeah.
what happens when you don't take care of yourself physically, you know, mentally, yes, but physically speaking, when you
Yeah.
sit on that couch all day or you're eating the wrong food or, you know, you're making all these terrible choices consistently, what that looks like in 10, 15 years from
Yeah.
where I'm at right now. Sometimes even sooner than that. So,
Yeah. And then we're trying to fix the symptom. It's like, what's the root
Right.
cause? If it's almost like as the society we're in, we have to be dehydrated before we care about hydrating.
Yep.
Right. Why not hydrate so you don't become dehydrated? Why not
so-
move
yeah.
so that way you can always move? And
Yeah.
that's for me, it's like seeing the people that come to the gym. I notice movement patterns, right? I can't even sit in an airport without being like, ugh, why is their knee doing that?
Yeah.
Like, so for me, it's all about fixing the movement patterns so that way when you're 50, 60, 70 years old, you can still do this stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I always teach trainers when I'm training them, like you can get someone to lose weight, they'll love you, they'll tell their friends. You get rid of somebody's chronic pain and movement pattern issues, they'll love you forever, you know, even if they're not your member.
Yeah.
Their weight's gonna go up and down. Their strength's gonna come and go, but that pain, that movement, I used to not be able to get up off the floor when I played with my grandkids, and now I can.
Right.
They will come to you for the rest of their life, you know? And for me, that's the value that I get. Again, when I first started, I wanted to help the Steelers jump higher. I wanted the big athletes to get stronger. Now it's like, I want to help everyday Sally be able to play with her grandkids. Like to go to a park, especially as a parent now, and watch the parents not be able to run with their kids or not be able to play with their kids. I just read a study that said people over the age of 30, 90% of those people will never sprint at full speed again over the age of 30. So it's like you're saying, that's just going to go downhill, right? Your brain, I always think of your brain as like a tree. You know, each branch is a skill set. If you don't use that, why would your body continue to send energy there?
Yeah.
So cut that branch off. But now when you need to squat to tie your shoes when you're 60, you can't. So now you tip over. And when was the last time you practiced getting up off the floor? Never. You're not getting up off the floor, you
Right.
know? We worry about all these crazy things in life, like plane crashes and all, and then we all die from heart disease and we fall and we can't get back up.
Yeah.
So let's work on those things,
Right.
you know?
So, in addition to you being a master trainer for Burn Boot Camp, you're also a certified nutritionist.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
correct.
kind of walk us through what you commonly see with a new client coming in who has, you know, a misconception of, well, I eat this. Like, just talk a little bit about how important that is for someone who looks, you know, relatively fit but could be doing so much better, has better goals, and what role that nutrition plays in your initial consult and throughout the camp.
Nutrition's everything. I mean, you can have the nicest car in the world. You don't put the right gas in that thing, it doesn't matter. And maybe you're that 20-year-old who's like, I can eat whatever I want. It's like, just wait. Like, it's coming. And it's not because you're 20. It's because you haven't done it for 20 plus years yet, you know? So like, I get a ton of women who also be like, Matt, when I was 30, I could eat and drink whatever I want, and it was great. Now that I'm 40, it doesn't work. That's because you did that at 30 through 40. So it's like the fruit you're eating today is the seed you planted 10 years ago. So the number one issue I see is that women in general will come in and they don't eat enough. And then how do we lose weight though, is I eat less and I eat less. So all you're doing is slowing down your metabolism. As men, generally, we're told we're not big enough. So like I know from the second I stepped onto a sport field or court, you got to eat more, you got to eat more, you got to eat more. So I was constantly pushing calories. Women are taught eat less, eat less, eat less, and do cardio. So now all of a sudden you're eating less, but you're asking your body to burn more calories, so it just slows your metabolism down.
Yeah.
So now your metabolism says, why would I burn so many calories if you're never going to feed me those calories? So the number one thing, and it's still to this day, 7 years in, the hardest issue is getting to explain to people or getting them to understand that you need to eat more in order to lose weight.
Because everyone just reads calorie deficiency. That's it.
And,
Burn more and like,
it works, right? Calorie deficient is how you lose weight, right? But that is like the smallest tip of the iceberg there ever is. Eating in a deficit will make you lose weight. That's the only way to lose weight. But then that's like the end of the conversation. It's like, no, the other end of it is you have to be eating enough to go into that deficit. So generally what I tell my people, when you want to intentionally lose weight, we need to cut about 500 calories a day, somewhere in there, right? Every individual, everyone's different. If you're eating 1,200 calories a day, where do we cut to? 700 calories. You can't do it. So generally what I try to do is reverse people up, right? So I would say, hey, how much are you eating now? Let's add 100 calories of good quality protein first, right? And then we weigh back in a month or so and see what happens. And it's crazy how many times I add 100 calories, 200 calories, and they come back and they're like, I lost weight. How is that possible? You fed your fire a little bit, right? Now your metabolism says, oh, I can burn more, and then we do it again.
Right.
Let's add another 100 and see what happens. Let's add another 100, see what happens. Eventually, I mean, I got people who are 120 pounds eating 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day.
Nice.
Now when they want to lose weight, they drop down to 2,000. That's like a normal diet.
Right.
And all of a sudden you're on a diet at Burgatory, just not getting the milkshake today.
Yeah.
And now you're on a diet and losing weight. And then whenever you're back onto your bulk, which I know women hate that word, or your build session, add the milkshake back in. I know it's like, you're a trainer saying eat the milkshake. Once you're getting enough protein, the rest is just fats and carbs and energy. Would you do better if you ate chicken, broccoli, and rice every meal of the day and work? Of course. But I also know you're not going to do that.
Right.
So let's talk to the normal human. Let's talk to the normal 2023 average person, which is my normal client, and let's work on them. Like I try to tell people, get to your minimum grams of protein and then eat whatever you want, fats and carbs. You want some spaghetti, eat it. But you can't come up short on your protein and then be having hot dogs and soft pretzels for dinner when you didn't hit your protein yet, you know? Right?
Who's that sound like?
But like we throw so much concern on like it has to be like boiled chicken breast, steamed broccoli.
No
because-
seasoning whatsoever.
Right. It's like I don't even have my people log their seasoning because I don't care at this point. You're the average person, you know? And it's like we got to focus on the smaller things. Like we know the big things, workout and exercise, right? We don't have a weight loss problem in this country. If I gave you a piece of pizza and a chicken breast, which ones, you know, everybody knows which one it is. If I gave you a gummy bear and an apple, we all know which one it is. So what's the problem is the strategy behind it and how do we do it? And the strategy is you need to eat more food in order to lose some weight. Now, that doesn't mean go to Wendy's and order more food, right? More food is in
But
your
Matt
chicken, your
told me
broccoli.
to eat more food.
And what's cool about fitness is depending on where you're starting, you eating Wendy's every single day, and then you take out the soda will get you somewhere. Yeah. And then you take out the fries. And then why the hell are you getting Wendy's? You know, we can get to that point. But like I jokingly tell people, if you're drinking 10 beers every single day, let's just take 1 or 2 away. Yeah. Like that's it. After a year, that's 700 plus beers that you took away. That's going to make a big difference.
I think like one of the things too that I personally went through was, you know, I try to cook most of our meals throughout the week and stuff like that. And they say like, you know, after a period of time when you stop eating the McDonald's or stop eating this, like it won't taste nearly as good. I was like, oh, when like years ago, I was like, that can't be true. And then like, sure enough, like I had McDonald's like last year or something like that when I was just sick and didn't feel like cooking and I could barely eat it. And I was like, this tastes horrible. And I never thought I would ever reach a point where I was like,
it's tolerance, right? So think about alcohol. Don't drink alcohol for 3 or 4 months and then go take a shot of like Jack Daniels. You're like, oh, that's a lot. You know? Everything builds up that tolerance. And yeah, you are right. What's interesting is how adaptive your body is to think that you could eat Burger King every single day and this is good. Because your body becomes so resilient to that toxin or those bad chemicals that are in that stuff that you will actually adapt and learn to live there and be fine, you know? And then the same thing happens with bad food to good food. Eat nothing but Burger King for a couple months and then go have some broccoli. It's gonna be like, oh, this is terrible, you know? So your palate will adapt to kind of what you're doing. And what I think is cool is I think there's a middle ground. I think you can have your pizza and Wendy's once or twice a week, depending on what the rest of your days look like. Where's your fitness levels? Where's your sleep? Where's your water intake? You know, it's like if you're short water, you're not working out, you're not sleeping, that Wendy's is gonna have a bigger impact than if you're eating whole foods, you're sleeping well, you're exercise. You know, that small hiccup is gonna have a much bigger effect when other things are not aligned as well.
Right. You can certainly feel you're so passionate about what you do now, and it's fun for me to watch and, you know, be a part of your camps, but I'm sure it is so much more fulfilling to you compared to what you came from at Costco. Not that Costco wasn't a good experience for you, and I'm sure it helped shape, you know, who you are today and, you know, a lot of that work ethic, but
no, I always say I needed that. I needed to go through those down times or whatever to learn to wake up at 3 a.m. Like I remember when Lisa's like, Matt, you're gonna have to get up at 5 a.m. I'm like, Lisa, I get up at 2:30 right now. Like this is gonna be awesome, you know, I get that sleep in. But yeah, I mean, to show up to a job every day for 13 to 14 years that you don't have passion for. So hey, how do you stay motivated? Because I've done shitty jobs. Like I've had to wake up and stock pickles. I've carried shingles onto the roof of houses. I've, You know what I mean? I've dug holes and cut firewood. So
Yeah.
yeah, showing up to work out when I get to wear a t-shirt and shorts and help people fulfill their potential. Yeah, it's easy to be passionate.
Yeah.
And because 90% of the information is misinformation, I get passionate about, like, let me teach you how to eat chicken wings sometimes. Like, let me teach you how to burn. Like, you can do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny when people really get to know me outside of the gym. They're like, you kind of don't eat great. I'm like, you kind of don't have to all the time.
Right.
Now, was there a 10-year span of my life where I didn't? Yes, I didn't put anything in. So it's like investing. I built that equity. So yeah, I can take off my vacations a little bit now. I can have some pizza more often because I've built that equity. But I think over time, it's not this quick fix, let me lose 30 pounds. It's got to be this, how do I invest so that way over time, like, you get that almost residual, that passive income. You don't have to work all the time. That's why I can work out just 2 days a week, because I've spent years where, I was working out twice a day, every day. But luckily for me, I put that time in before I had kids, you know, and before my career really took off.
Yeah.
So I was able to invest myself into that. So
Spending all that time at Costco and then just kind of jumping into burn boot camp, was there something or a moment, scenario early on where obviously there's probably a lot of fear of like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm jumping into this.
Yeah.
But was there a moment where you're like, I'm going to be okay? Like, this
Yeah.
was the right move? Could you talk about
yeah,
this moment?
so when I thought it was Zumba, and I did, because it was women only, we're on this like gymnastic style
I think you'd be great
floor.
at Zumba too, though.
I would probably run some Zumba. Now looking back on it. But I didn't want that. I wanted to train the Steelers. I wanted to train the big, strong guys, and I don't know. So Lisa actually flew me down to Georgia. There was a guy who was opening a burn, and I stayed with him for a week. And I remember the first couple days, I was like really intimidated, really nervous, because it was their home. And I felt like they all knew they were on a rhythm and they were on a beat, and I was this random guy coming in. And maybe halfway through the week, some of the louder women in the camp came up to me and they're like, I'm sorry, we're being weird. We're just really nervous because you're from headquarters and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay. So like, you're nervous and scared that I'm like, all right, I'm going to be all right. So they, like, I didn't realize you guys thought I was like training the guy who was opening the gym.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're such a good trainer. We didn't know it was your, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right. So then I don't know, it just gave me that freedom to be me instead of trying to be like a half-assed version of the trainer I was visiting. And that's what I try to tell a lot of the trainers that are coming into don't try and do what I do. Do you 100%. Because if you're a half version of me, no one's going to like it.
Right.
If you're a half version of you, nobody's going to like it. Be
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
to 100%. But yeah, that was definitely the moment when that lady, I can even picture her in my head when she was like, sorry, we're being weird. We're just nervous. I'm like, what are you guys nervous for? Oh, you're from headquarters. I'm like, all right. Okay. I'm like, yep, I'm from headquarters. All right. Like, I'm here to... So that was like a real moment for me. That was like, I hate the whole fake it till you make it kind of thing. But it's like almost I didn't need to fake it because I had made it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, if just being me and just training the way I trained was good enough. I didn't have to try to mimic somebody I saw on TV or on the internet or whatever. I was able to just, that was the moment where it was like, just be you and just train. Everyone thinks you're the headquarters guy, so just run with it kind of thing. So that was a really cool moment because I was very nervous and and at the moment I was like, I'm nervous here, but when I get home, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
But it kind of gave me that perspective. I want to be able to go to any gym in the country. And like Paige mentioned earlier, I was an orientation specialist. So when they would open a new burn, they would send me there for like a half a week to a weekend. And I would just talk to the trainers and get it all set up. So I saw like different angles, and I can just jump right in to that. And whenever I won the Trainer of the Year in 2020, we do a yearly summit to where all the burns get together. And that year that I hosted, or I trained the workout forever. So it was over 400 people. And just give me the mic, let's go. You know, it wasn't like a big deal because I'm just confident. It's like I hear it in sports a lot. Like, I just do what I do. I don't worry about what the other team's doing. If I can do what I do, I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of difficult clients, I just wanted to clear something up on air real quick. Can I get a true or false on the following statement? That you had to pull Paige aside one morning and reprimand her about not participating in the active warm-up section of the class?
That is true. That is a true. So Paige is my chronically 3 to 4 minute late girl. Now it's
Hey,
consistent.
I show up.
It's consistent
up.
though. So that's all I care about. She's good at being late. I will say that. And there's good ways to be late and bad ways to be late. Bad ways, you walk in late and you're just kind of mosey. And Paige jumps right in. She knows what's going on. But there definitely was so what's going on, Paige? Especially when people ask.
He goes, would you consider us friends? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why? And he goes, well, why don't you do the active warm-up? I'm like, oh, jeez. Because, I mean, he's like instructing through the exercise, and he tells us to do stuff, and you do it for like a couple seconds, then you're like trying to pay attention, so you stop, and Yeah, I got caught.
Yeah, I'm a move your feet kind of guy. If
Yeah.
I'm talking, your feet are moving. And
Yeah.
if they're not moving, we're gonna have a discussion about why. What's going on with your life right now, Paige? How come you can't move your feet? What's happening?
I'm like, Matt, I just woke up like 10 minutes ago. I'm lucky my eyes are open.
And that's my favorite. Man, I just woke up. I'm like, yeah, I've been up for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny whenever you come in 2 minutes late, no big deal at all.
Yeah.
But then we're like halfway through the warm. She's like, I'm tired. Well, that's because you missed the warm up.
Yeah,
It's because you
right.
missed the warm up. I don't
Right.
know.
Right.
But yeah, she's gotten better. We'll say that.
Yeah.
She's gotten better. But
On the
that's it.
days that I'm early, he does compliment
Yeah.
me. He's like, wow, you're
What
here
are
on
you doing
time.
here?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here? Are you late for the 8:30 camp?
Right, right.
But I do know I would rather have you for, we have 45-minute camps.
Yeah.
I would rather have you for 42 minutes
Yeah.
than, oh, I'm going to be late. I'm just going to go home today.
Yeah.
So, like, I know a lot of trainers get mad and they're like, you're not taking. I would rather you show up 15 minutes late and get a half an hour workout in
Yeah.
than decide Matt's going to give me a hard time when I get there. So I'm just going to stay home today and
Yeah.
get no workout at all.
Yeah.
I would much rather have you for 42 minutes, Paige.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I always take you.
Thanks. Now, I'm sure you have a lot of pretty cool success stories of people's fitness journeys. What would you say your favorite is to date of someone making
Oh, Lord.
yeah.
So most of my, I don't want to downgrade anybody, but
Yeah.
like the people who've lost a bunch of weight, like to me that's like the stand. Like good for you, that's
Yeah.
great. I like the off the wall stories, like the people who just move better or couldn't do something. And we have one member, Tracy Grady. She was diagnosed with osteoporosis, which the doctors will tell you is irreversible and there's nothing you can do. And basically they told her to stop working out and just be a frail little old lady and that's it. But she didn't do that. And Tracy is lean. She does not need to lose any weight. She's tall. She's built like us, right? So for her, she just kept coming and kind of just put her head down and worked. And what was interesting is a year or two later, when she went back to get her blood work done, she did not have osteoporosis anymore. And the doctor's like, well, that's not possible, and blah, blah. And it's like, no,
Like it is.
that's bone strength, right?
Yeah.
If you strengthen your muscles are attached to the bone, right? As you strengthen the muscles, they pull on the bone. The bone then gets a signal, I need to adapt and get stronger. If you're not lifting weights, your bones don't need to be strong. If you're not putting any weight on your shoulders or on your skeletal structure, you don't need strong bones.
Yeah.
Tracy kept working her butt off after they told her that there's nothing you can do and made her muscles stronger and in return made her bones stronger. So now this like grim outlook of osteoporosis, your life's just going to go downhill, completely reversed
Yeah.
to the point that she doesn't even have like osteopenia or anything anymore.
That's awesome.
And for me, it's like, you look at her, you don't see the difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She didn't lose 50. We're not all Jared from Subway who's going to lose 150 pounds.
Yeah.
And like, most of us are not that person.
Yeah.
But to see someone like Tracy who can go from this grim medical outlook to I'm a thriving 60-year-old grandmother who's killing it,
Yeah.
who's in the gym chest pressing 35s, who's doing all the heavy lifting, and it's like, oh, and you have osteoporosis? Like,
Yeah.
oh, sit down and calm. No,
Yeah.
you need to probably work harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, in the right ways, in the smart ways. But something like that to me is more impressive than not in a bad way, but the 20-year-old who's overweight who then busts their butt and they lose
Right.
that weight. You know,
Right.
yes, that's impressive. Yes, I love that. But to see someone who doctors and people are telling you, you don't have a chance, to her to be like, no, I'm going to work
Yeah.
and watch this. And now that inspiration, because now there's the 20-year-olds are watching that.
Yeah.
Like the 30-year-olds in our gym are
just-
watching that, you know?
When you're that young, like doesn't click. Like when you're 20, you're like, oh yeah, like, I can run and play basketball and dunk without ever warming up. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't stay there forever.
No,
Like-
and that's what's nice because I get those people. I get the 20-year-olds, the 30-year-olds who are like, I'm not in bad shape. What do you think? I'm like, let's go talk to a 60-year-old over here. Let's go talk about, you don't have kids right now. Like, you have the potential to bypass all the issues these 30 to 40 to 50-year-old women are dealing with right now, who have the messed up metabolisms from not eating enough, who go into mom mode and they don't sleep and they don't eat. And it's like, I love that you guys go into this mom mode, but you forget about yourself. And now all of a sudden you've let your house. So now how positive of an impact of a mother are you going to be when you got osteoporosis at 40, 50 years old and you are overweight and you don't know how to eat? And now you're feeding your kids bad food. And it's like, you're literally showing your kids how to be unhealthy. But I'm in mom mode. It's
don't-
like, come on, if you're in mom mode, then do it the right way.
I would
you know?
say the far majority of personal trainers don't give that complete picture perspective to
Yeah.
their clients. It's more like, oh, what do you want to do? You want to get big? Okay. But rather than like how this is going to affect your life. So
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, because what's nice is, I can take these 20-year-olds and go to the 40-year-old women who have 3 kids who have been struggling for 5
She'll
years
kick
to
your
lose
ass.
weight. And it's like, look, like, let's talk to her about let's do the right thing now. Let's be healthy. Like you were saying, when you guys decide or whatever you want to have kids, be healthy leading up. You don't think that's going to help with your pregnancy? You don't think that's going to help with your recovery? You don't think that's going to, your kids getting better nutrients? And it's like, it's not just be healthy to look good and lose weight. That can be a goal. Fine. I have no problem with these shallow goals of I want to have a six-pack and look great. But I want to be there for my kids. I want to be healthy. I want to be able to
live a long life.
I want to be able to have kids. If that, like, I was gonna share that kind of story. I have women who come in who say, Matt, I can't have kids. I'm on IVF. I'm doing all this. It's like, right, but how much are you eating? How much are you sleeping? And it's like, oh, well, let's fix all those things, right? I get a lot of people who say, oh, I think my hormones are messed up. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Or maybe it's the fact that you eat like crap, you don't work out, you don't sleep, you don't drink water, you chug alcohol. Maybe those are the issues that are coming up. So to have the women who come in telling me, you know, I can't have kids, and then all of a sudden they're pregnant. It's like, you're getting healthy. An unhealthy body is not going to have kids. You know, the body is thinking this world is stressful. There's not enough food. I'm not sleeping, so I must be in danger. Why would you then bring a child into the world? You got to tell it, no, there's plenty of food here. I'm a strong individual. Then your body's going to be more likely. Obviously, there's other issues on top of that, but it's going to be more likely to have an easier time, again, with pregnancy, with recovery, with all that stuff. And what's cool is I get to watch it. I get the, hey, Matt, I just found out I'm pregnant. So I get to see their 5 and 6-year-old in the childcare now. Or how many women came in with their 4 and 5-year-olds who's now those kids are taking camp with us, who are 13, 14, 15 years old. And it's like, I remember when you were now it's like making me feel old, because I'm like, I remember when you were 5 years old in that child watch, and now 7 years later, you're old enough to take camp now. It's like a cool kind of thing, but it makes you feel old.
And then those kids see their moms and their dads working out, saying, like, oh, this is something I need to do when I'm getting older and whatever. So
we had the Level Up games this weekend, which is our fitness competition, and we invite the families to come in to watch, and there was so many little kids cheering on their moms and watching them work. And the one lady, Sarah Radigan, she sent us a video of her kids set up the workout in the basement. They set up like pillows for the hurdles, and they set up literally the same workout we did. And they were like, Mom, tell us when to go. And like so it's like your kids, I mean, we all hear it, right? They're watching. But why are they wanting to do that? If you can get your kids to want to go work out and want to eat more protein, right? Like, I couldn't imagine my mom tell, hey, you need to have more protein in your diet. And it's like, now I have moms teaching their daughters, hey, you got to lift weights and eat protein, you know? So like you guys were talking earlier about the physical therapy, maybe every facet of fitness isn't for everybody, right? Like, we can use the CrossFit world. A lot of people hate on CrossFit, but a lot of people started their fitness journey because of CrossFit, right? So it's like, there's a time and place. Like, when I got 50 people in a camp and there's someone with a bad knee, is this the best environment for them? I don't know. But what's the opposite, or what's the alternative? Is for them to be sitting at home with a bad knee? Then I think I can make a positive impact on that 6-year-old person with a bad knee. Do they need to be in a boot camp setting? I don't know, maybe not. But what's the alternative is for them to, they're not going to sit on one-on-one in a gym. They're probably not going to go to PT necessarily. But if I can get them to join their 5 to 10 friends and show up every day, I believe I can make an impact versus just how many squats can you do and how fat. Now I can get in one-on-one with that person and be like, hey, you're not these people necessarily, you know, you're your own thing.
That's okay.
That's cool. That's totally great, you know, like
everyone has their own journey.
Yeah, and as being able to accept that is like, sure, should you be on with a one-on-one personal corrective exercise personal trainer with a PT right now? Probably, but I know you're not going to do that. So come see me, and I'll try to be the best of that. And then with my certifications, I always try to expand. Like, my first one was personal trainer, right? A lot of personal trainers just recertify as a personal trainer. I try to expand. So like my first one-off was corrective exercise, learning how to use exercise to fix bodies, similar to a PT, right? Is it's not, we're just not exercising to see how strong we can get. There's application for that, but you have a knee issue. So let's work out the right way to do a lunge to fix the knee. And then I expanded into bodybuilding and nutrition, right? So then I feel like with my knowledge and my background, I can now help you different than I can help you. You want to be a bodybuilder, you want to be a marathon runner, let's do it. But you got to do it different. You have to eat a little bit different. So I just want to keep widening instead of going deeper on one subject. Let's get wider and then see how many more people I can kind of help that way.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Now, what would you say is your best tip to maintain a healthy balance during the holiday season as we approach Thanksgiving and Christmas?
So I just did a video on this yesterday on our members page.
Yeah.
And it was kind of what we talked about earlier. I want you to eat some turkey stuffing and potatoes, and then we'll see you on Monday. You know, I think an unhealthy approach to it would be like, I can't have that. I have my Tupperware with chicken and broccoli. I can't touch any. I think that's an unhealthy version.
Yeah.
And the person who's chugging gravy out of that's probably an unhealthy version
Yeah.
too, right? Think about like a relationship. If you can't be in the same room as your significant other, it's probably a bad relationship.
Yeah.
If you have to be in the same room, that's probably an unhealthy relationship as well. So like for me, what do you do Monday through Friday? What's your everyday look like? And if you're going to take one day to have some stuffing and I think you're going to be fine. Right? When
just commit to it. Just
Yeah,
do
just
it and
have
then
it.
get back on track.
And
the
for me,
next
it's
day,
like
right?
Thanksgiving. We so worried, I got Thanksgiving dinner. Right, what are you going to eat? Turkey?
Yeah.
Potatoes? Vegetables?
One
So
meal.
like,
One meal.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So like, your Thanksgiving dinner, why don't we do that every day? Why aren't you having a meat, a vegetable, potato every day?
Yeah.
Or chicken, broccoli, rice, or whatever, steak, quinoa, green beans, I don't care. But like, just think meat, vegetable, potato.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, you're not going to overeat meat and potatoes. Your body will become satiated with the protein and say, oh, cool, I'm done. The problem is when the pumpkin pie comes out, because all those highly palatable foods will bypass the I'm full.
Yeah.
Because like, we're all full, I can't eat another bite, and then the pie comes out, I'm like, all right, here we
Sugar.
go, let's
all
loosen
right,
those
just
pants
unbutton
up.
the
Sugar,
pants
that's good. Let's get some more of that.
And
Yeah.
then what happens is that highly palatable food will bypass those receptors saying, hey, you're full. And it's like, no, you're not. Pile that stuff in. So for me, it's like, eat the turkey first. Get that protein in. And then
a
even
good
as you
tip.
eat the carbs, the protein is going to help bind the glycogen from the carbs. So now all of a sudden that it's not hitting your bloodstream as quick. So it's going to help control the blood sugar. And a lot of times when that blood sugar gets out of whack, that's when you're like, where's that pumpkin pie at? Where's that candy? I can just eat this bowl of candy all day. So if we can get that high protein early, it's going to help limit some of that sugar cravings throughout. And typically we give those sugar cravings when you're already full, which means you're going to overextend what you're capable of doing. So strategy, we sit down and we talk. It's like, look, if you're like, Matt, I don't care, I'm eating that pumpkin pie, then let's load up breakfast and let's load up the middle part or the beginning of lunch, and then go ahead and have the pumpkin pie. But you're not going to have more than one or two pieces because you're so full from the meals you've already eaten. Or, Paige, you say, I don't care, I'm eating a whole freaking pumpkin pie, and then I'll see you tomorrow and we'll work on it. Like,
I like that though, because I feel like maybe you're the same way. I specifically am not that great at portion control. So if I start with the turkey and, fill my belly with the turkey, then maybe
I'm
be
all
better
in.
off.
We just went on to Burn. So there's something called Fire Club within Burn. They take like the top 10% of gyms, and there's a trip each year. So we went this year. It was in Aruba. It was super nice a couple weeks ago. And they host workouts every day on the beach. And everyone's like, you ready? I'm like, I am not freaking going to that workout.
Oh.
I'm not going. Why? I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
Why am I on vacation? I'm on vacation to relax. I'm on vacation to enjoy myself. I'm on vacation to drink. I don't drink. I'm on vacation to enjoy the sun. I'm not enjoying the sun doing burpees with sand in my face. It's just not like, to each their own. Don't get me wrong. Lisa was there crushing people every day. That's her thing. That's not why I go on vacation. So like, I think everything needs to be with a purpose. So when you're eating your pumpkin pie, good, eat it with a purpose. Why are you eating it? To be healthy? Then you're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah.
If you're eating it because I only get grandma's pumpkin pie once a year, then have two pieces.
Yeah.
But what's the purpose of it? Is your purpose to go to Aruba to be in shape? No, I'm not doing my workout there. You know, is my purpose of going out to eat? Like I get that a lot. What should I eat when I go out to eat? Whatever the hell you want to eat.
Yeah.
Because when you go out to eat, you're going out to eat to enjoy your time with your friends, to enjoy yourself, whatever. Then enjoy it. You know, if my opinion, if you go out to eat to enjoy yourself with your friends and you take your Tupperware and you're eating chicken, you're not enjoying yourself, and you're probably not going to be the healthiest version of yourself either.
Yeah.
So it's like, where's this happy medium? And I think I could also keep people motivated when it's like, it's not this all in and all out kind of thing. Like, you can have whatever you want at Thanksgiving dinner. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And if not, then we got to get back to the foundation and the structure
Well,
of this. You
I
know?
think it's more like Thanksgiving rolls into holiday parties, which rolls into Christmas, and then New Year's, and then it's like, oh,
What just happened? It was
Yeah.
2 months ago.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's also being self-aware. What did you do last year?
Yep.
What'd you do last year? Did you do the same thing? Were you happy with the results?
Yeah.
You might be able to say, yeah, Matt, from Thanksgiving until New Year's, I gained 5 pounds. Cool. Is that worth it? Are you good? And you're like, yeah, I had the time of my life. I traveled to my family. Then do it.
Yeah.
Then do it. Then what's the 5 pounds when you're on your deathbed? Are you going to be excited that you enjoyed that time, that last Halloween or last Thanksgiving with grandma? Or are you going to be worried that I gained 4 pounds that year?
Great
When you're on your deathbed, nobody's complaining about that 4 pounds they gained.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with vacations. You go on vacation. What'd you do last year? Oh my God, it was so bad. I gained 3 pounds. Did you have the time of your life and did you enjoy yourself? Not really. Then yeah, you might as well diet then, you
Yeah.
know? Or it's like, you go on this once in a lifetime trip and you dieted the whole time. Did you even enjoy yourself?
Right.
So for me, it's like, what's the purpose? And what did you do last year?
Yeah.
If you eat like crap from Thanksgiving until New Year's and you didn't gain any weight, then do it again.
Yeah.
Then do it again. Why not? You know, or you sit back and say, you know what, I want to do better for myself. So maybe every breakfast from Thanksgiving until New Year's has to be on point.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I have
Yeah.
to hit my protein goals.
Right.
But once I hit my protein goals, then I can do whatever. It always goes back to strategy for me. What's your goal? What's the intent? What's the plan?
Yeah.
And then go with it. Because when I go, I'm going hard on Thursday. Like I'm going 3 plates. Like,
Yeah.
I'm stacking it up.
Yeah.
But what did I have for dinner last night? I had ground turkey, green beans, and rice. You know, so I know that Thursday I'm going in.
Yeah.
So my Monday through Wednesday is going to be good.
Right.
You know, and then again, if my Thursday bleeds into Friday, Saturday, so be it. Because
Yeah.
I know where I'm at Monday morning. I'll see you at 5 a.m. at Burn Boot Camp.
Yep.
So, you know, having that perspective. You're an accountant and you sit at a desk all day long. And I know last year when I went hard on Thanksgiving, that bled into the next week, and then maybe chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, how do you add the barrier? It doesn't have to be I have to eat boiled chicken breast and steamed broccoli, but like, where's the barrier at? And, you know, aside from Thanksgiving, if you have a hard time at night eating sweets, put up a barrier. I gotta do, Mark, you gotta do 10 burpees. You can have as much ice cream as you want, but you gotta do 10 burpees first. And then it's like, all right, never
Doesn't
mind.
matter what closet we put in the house. I always seem to find it. It's like,
Well, that's what I'm like, where did these Reese's cups come from? And then I'm like, oh, these little mochi ice creams, where did they come from? Because I don't eat those. So, and
They're
then
in
they
a
go
hallway
missing.
closet.
I
They're,
don't
they're
know where
there
they
and
go
then they're
either.
gone.
I don't know where they come from either.
Yeah.
It's just,
But
Have a strategy, right?
Yeah.
You can put them in the house. You didn't put those in there to be healthy. Put them in there to eat them.
yeah.
it's okay to treat yourself, but
I think it's a necessity. I think
Yeah.
the same way that you can take a day off from your workout. If you miss a day,
Yeah.
and this really hit me during COVID when we had to shut down. Everyone's like, I'm going to go crazy. Oh my God, what do I do without fitness? You fix that. You fix that trauma. Like, how come when I took that away, you freaked out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something there you should dig at. And since we can't be in person, we can't push right now, why not take that time to work on that thing, right? When somebody gets injured and they're like, oh, I'm going to freak out if I can't work out. Why?
yeah.
Why? What makes you think that you can't take a day off, or you're meant, oh, my head just goes crazy? Then figure that out.
Yeah.
Let's figure that out. And that's probably in the grand scheme of your health going to help figure out versus you hitting a workout whenever you feel like, I get it. Don't be wrong. Physical workout will absolutely mentally help you.
Yeah.
But if you need I need my coffee, or, oh, watch out. I'm a bear if I don't have my coffee. Figure that out. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Like, you know what I mean? Because at some point there's something, I always say trauma, there's something masking, right?
Yeah.
You're masking. People say, well, I'll be a bitch if I don't have my coffee.
Yeah.
Then maybe that's just who you are. And you're masking that with coffee. Like, let's
Right.
figure out why, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So it was interesting during COVID when, we couldn't be in the gym. Everyone was working out from home. And I'm losing my brain. Oh my God, I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
Calm down. Let's figure that out. Because when we are able to work out again, you're not using it as a mask. You're using it as a benefit to push yourself to the next level, not to mask my trauma or whatever. Because the person who's extremely overweight, they got some trauma that they got to figure out. And the person who hasn't missed a workout in 5 years, they got some trauma they got to figure out too.
Yeah.
It's again, where's that? So whenever I say just enjoy yourself on vacation, like, oh God, I could never do that. Take your time on vacation to figure out why you can't take a week
Yeah.
off of working out,
Right.
because there's a deeper issue there.
Yeah.
That again, as
Love that.
the umbrella of health, you should probably figure some of that mental stuff out too.
Yeah.
And it gets rid of all the guilt, and because a lot of people get mom guilt, right? I should be home with my kids, and now I'm working out.
Yeah.
You're bettering yourself for that, and I think that's okay too.
Right. All right. Last question. Favorite Thanksgiving food?
Ooh, I'm the weirdo. I like the turkey, and I like the stuffing.
Okay.
Plain and
Those are
simple.
good picks.
Well,
Those-
let's say this: I like the gravy on top of
Yeah.
the stuffing. And
yeah,
the
you have
turkey.
to have the gravy.
I'm not a sweets guy. I won't touch
Yeah.
any pumpkin pie or stuff, not because it's the healthy thing to do, because
Yeah.
I'm going back for extra potatoes and gravy.
yeah, me too.
And dinner rolls, I'll crush some dinner rolls.
Oh yeah.
I like.
all the carbs. Bring them on.
That's what I'm saying. Thanksgiving is probably my favorite holiday.
Yeah.
Because of the food.
It is definitely my favorite holiday.
Yeah, I'm all about it. But I'm not a sweet guy. The only thing I'll say is my least favorite, cranberry sauce.
Same, man.
Hate it.
Same.
Yeah, it's okay. I've been trying to.
I'm like an outcast in my own family for
Yeah.
not liking my mom's cranberry
Oh,
sauce.
but this one's
so
homemade. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to
not
me.
for me.
Yeah.
But for me, my Thanksgiving plate looks like my Monday night plate.
Yeah.
Meat, vegetable, potatoes. And whenever you make that to stand, like, a lot of my stuff is like how I can stay in shape.
Yeah.
I don't drink alcohol, not because of a health standpoint. I don't like the way it tastes. I don't
Yeah.
like the way it makes my belly feel. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like it. I have super ADHD, so I never stop moving.
Yeah.
And I like to eat meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
So those three things can, like, generally keep me in pretty good shape,
Yeah.
you know? But Yeah, Thanksgiving, you'll see me turkey, chicken, broccoli, and rice. I always say it's the
Yeah.
same thing. A
Well,
meat, a vegetable, potato.
Yeah, mine's green bean casserole. So I mean,
I like that.
yeah, I mean, it's
With
kind
the
of
cream of mushroom soup
yep,
stuff.
and the little
With crunchies?
French onions on
Love it.
top. Yeah,
Mark?
I just made our first batch last
did a
week
good
for our,
job.
or the first time I ever made it was
Yeah.
last week for our potluck. Turned
Yeah.
out okay, I
Oh,
guess.
you got to put that with some breaded pork chops.
yeah,
Ooh.
That's my casserole, my green bean casserole. I always keep that with my pork chops.
yeah, yeah. That sounds good. What's yours?
For me, it's definitely mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
Great
gravy.
mashed potatoes.
And gravy. If there's like one thing I could
Yeah.
only pick out the whole thing, I'm going straight
That's
for
the
that.
base. That's the dipper.
Yeah,
So
You gotta
good.
get in.
good
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, Matt, we can't thank you enough for taking out time in your busy schedule. His name's Matt White. He's the lead trainer at Burn Boot Camp in Wexford. Thank you so much for spending the afternoon with us, and we will see you all next week.